Rebba Wilhelm.
Rebba MC, and how are you?
Baruch Hashem, what's going on?
All is good. We're doing our daily ride, huh?
I have a question for you. What do you think of my wife's word?
How am I supposed to first tell me what your wife's word is, and then you can ask me?
So she has a good question. She basically says the acronym for Elul is Ani V'Doidi V'Doidi Li.
Yeah.
So it's I'm to my beloved is to me. So basically we're talking about like lovers or one person that loves the other individual. But basically the month of Elul is the month of tshuva. Like we sinned, we were astray. Now we are realigning with the Eibishter. So seemingly on this month we're not beloved. We're trying to make amends. After we're successful with our tshuva and our reconciliation, so to speak. Then we will be,
Tell me we're driving now, right?
Uh-huh.
When your kid does something stupid like crosses across the street, runs across the street, you don't love him?
You do.
Okay. So people make mistakes, but you still love them.
So that's the answer. The answer basically is
the love doesn't evaporate, doesn't disappear. It might be covered over.
So even though it's covered over, I mean, even in the state of kivyachol separation or kivyachol concealment or whatever it might be, the people are still, doidi v'doidi li, I know doidi li. They're still
the relationship. I'll put it
very, very close.
Put it very, very simple. A father and son are called father and son, no matter if they're in good terms or not good terms. Husband and wife, still husband and wife, right? And that sometimes it's a little rocky, but there's still you can't separate them as long as they're alive. The father, and son is a son, and whatever relationship they have is there.
Yeah, it's my wife's word. You like it?
Beautiful. Wow. Now you have to respect her for being a Talmidei Chachama. Okay, it's early morning here, and you see a lot of people running to shul. It's beautiful to be in this atmosphere. People running to shul. It's this week's Parshas Ntzבים Vayelech. We're in the stretch run before Rosh Hashanah, and it's also Motzei Shabbos. We start Slichas. I want to start with a story I heard last week in 770. I spent Shabbos in 770, and if I wouldn't hear it from the person himself, I wouldn't believe the story. But I heard this person. There's one place in 770 that the second davening's over, a kiddush pops out from under the bench, and they bring out food. I don't know. It's like a man min hashamayim, right? So that place, everybody has a chance to say something. And so there's a guest there I think he was from Israel, but he was from Israel, but originally he comes from Chile. So it was his turn to say something. So they asked him, what are you doing here? So he says, I brought my son, who is bar mitzvah, to come to the Rebba. He says, what, you have anything nice to say? He says, beautiful. I am originally from Chile. I grew up non-religious till I was in my mid-20s. I was learning in college. I was successful, and and my parents. I think he said his parents are wealthy. And when he graduated, his parents gave him nish mer nish veinziker as a present, a trip around the world. Why? Because his dream was to find the place around the world where is the biggest party, and he's a party animal. So he was going to. So this is again, if I wouldn't hear it from the person himself, I wouldn't believe it. I think this is like a baba maisa. The guy says he ended up in where's Yosef Chaim Cantor in not
Thailand.
Thailand. One of the places he went to Thailand because supposedly in Thailand there's a place where people party like Michigan. 30,000 people are there and partying, and he was there in the party, and he's still not religious, and he's partying, and he says suddenly, out of the blue, he gets a shock, a spirit that says, what is this all about? What am I doing? And he has no clue how it happened, and he left the place, and he went to his hotel room, and in his hotel room he got stuck looking at the mirror, and he looks at the mirror and he sees himself. He says, life must be something different. This can't be life. This can't be what life is all about. We weren't put in this world just to go from party to party and waste it in shtuyot. And from there, he ends up eventually going back to his home. And even when he ends up in his home, he still was connected to some partying. And one Friday night, he decides to call his friends. Well, let's go somewhere. Everybody's turning him down for different reasons. They're all busy. And out of the blue, he ended up in the Chabad house. He never went to Chabad house. He never went. And the rest is history. This story is a Meshuggah story. What we learn is Sarissa de Latata or Sarissa de Leila. The guy out of the blue gets a message, and he sees himself in the mirror, and he talks to himself. I heard this from the person himself. Why am I saying this? Because the Eibush just sends everybody messages. This is the end of the year now, and we have to really double down to think about the messages we're being sent. I heard a Dvar Torah. We're blowing shofar, and the pasuk says about the shofar, Aryeh Shag Mila Yira. When a lion roars, who's not afraid? The lion makes this scary sound. Everybody's afraid, and we use it as when you hear the sound of shofar, it gives you a kick in the pants. Wake up. So somebody asks, the lashon should say Aryeh Shoyeg, when a lion roars, present, not Shoag, when a lion roared, right? And I think this is so applicable to this year. And the answer is the person gave was a great answer. He says sometimes when you blow the shofar now, you can look back at the past year and say, "Oh my gosh, do you see what last year's shofar blowing brought along?" So what the Aryeh Shoreg, the shofar blowing of last year, think about what it brought along. Was it a great year? Was it a disastrous year? Rahman al-Islam. We're living through a year of Rahman al-Islam, anti-Semitism, wars in Eretz Yisrael, and there's so many problems. Everything was signed and sealed in Rosh Hashanah. If we would only take advantage of the time of last year's Aryeh Shag. Now you could see after the fact what last year's Kiyah Shofar is. So when we stand now before Rosh Hashanah and we're blowing the Shofar and the Rosh Hashanah now, on Elul now, think what powers we have, because in a week or so everything is going to be signed and sealed for the upcoming year. Very important. Take life serious, because it's going to be signed and sealed, and just think about what last year's was. I thought it was a phenomenal part. Take it serious. Now there are two points I want to make. One, in this Parshas Vayelech, you find that Moshe hands over leadership to Yeshua, and Moshe says to Yeshua, okay, you're going to bring out the Yidden into Eretz Yisrael. There's a difference in words. Rashi explains how the Eibusha says it to Moshe and how Moshe says it to Yeshua. How the Eibusha says it to Moshe is Ki ata tovi es Yisrael. Moshe Rabbeinu, you will bring the Jews in. If they like it or not, you will schlep them in. And by Yeshua it says tavoi, you will lead up front. In other words, you won't schlep them. You by consensus, like we'll do it together. And the Mefarshim explain. Rashi says that these are two ways of leadership. One way of leadership is by force, and I'm thinking about it also with the Maimon and Matzav in Eretz Yisrael. That when it comes to, I heard the Eibishter Kvayachol changed his way of leadership. In Chumash Bereshis, he says, "Na'asa Adam b'tzalmeinu." It seems to be that pure, real leadership is when there's consensus, when we do things together, and we all together figure it out, as if the Eibishter needs advice from others. And later, the Eibishter is the one that says, "No, you're going to bring them in without asking anybody. You schlep them in by force." Why was it a change? So I heard somebody explaining that when it comes to bringing people into Eretz Yisrael for the sake of Eretz Yisrael, we failed once. We failed when we wanted the consensus of people. The Meraglim came back with trouble. Do what's right for Eretz Yisrael by force, and don't ask anybody. You know what's right. You know what the Eibishter wants. Now, however, when Yeshua is told how to lead the people, of course you have to do it b'darkei noyam, b'darkei sholem. Get to discuss the Indian with people. And the Rebbe actually has a very, very similar sikha, where the Rebbe says that Yeshua was told to put the Sefer Torah mitzad aron bris Hashem, near the Aron. So the Rashi brings two perushim. Was it in the Aron, out of the Aron? And the Rebbe says mitzad aron bris Hashem means that let the people, the Aron is the source. Not everybody is connected strongly on the high level like this source. But bring the Torah to mitzad aron Hashem. Let them feel part of it. Let every yid be involved. And when you get everybody involved and we're together, we're guaranteed to have a blessing and a Shana Tova Mesukah.